Hello everyone, welcome to my channel. My name is Sunny, aka the Oracle of Alexandria, and today I have another Oracle deck review for you. We will be looking at Blue Angel's Journey of Love Oracle. So this is a deck by Alana Fairchild. I believe it has poetry by a poet named Rasuli, and the artwork I think is by Richard Cohn. I could be wrong here, but I think that's how it goes. Anyway, it is a 70 card deck, which I really love. I always love Oracle decks that are at least 50 and up. I mean, minimum 44 just because that's standard, but obviously I always prefer a larger deck. And so it is 70 cards. It does come with a guidebook. Okay, so this is the back of the box here that gives you an idea of some of the cards that will be in the deck, featuring 70 illuminating paintings by visionary artist Rasuli. The cards in Journey of Love are bursting with vibrant hues and stunning mystical depictions of feminine and natural beauty that help you connect deeply with the love that is the very heart of everything in existence. Accompanied by exquisite poetic verses from Richard Cohn and profound messages of guidance by Alana Fairchild, these cards are designed to assist you to find your authentic path through the opportunities for growth presented to you in all aspects of life, especially in your relationships, not only with others, but in your sacred relationship with yourself. Ask the Oracle whatever it is you yearn to know, then be carried on a journey through the mists of time where your answers await. It includes a foreword by Jean Houston. Okay, so this deck, I've had this for a number of years. You can see the box is a bit beat up. I mean, I keep it on a shelf, but even going on and off the shelf constantly, it's going to get somewhere. Overall, it is a solid deck. I think it's a little bit limited in its scope of what you can use it to read for. It really shines in spiritual guidance readings. Anything outside of that, it gets a bit sketchy because it does have a bit of a narrow focus. And if you happen to be someone who does deity spreads, this deck is actually fantastic for communicating with the goddess Aphrodite. If for whatever reason, your intuition isn't speaking to you, when you use this deck to communicate with Aphrodite, if you have to use the guidebook, and oftentimes you do because the artwork is gorgeous, but it doesn't always say a lot in itself. The messages in the guidebook, this is a very comforting deck. It's a very friendly and gentle deck. And in that regard, it absolutely does have the energy of Aphrodite. If you have to sit and read the guidebook, it really feels like you're having a conversation with her. You are receiving guidance from her. So I really, really love that. Okay, so you've seen enough of the outside box here. Let's go ahead and get into... So the inside of the box is this beautiful blue color, and it does, of course, come with the little sheet of protective paper that Blue Angel decks typically come with. And you have a nice guidebook that is in black and white, and it is the size of the box, which is nice. And the cards are significantly smaller. They come with this plastic band on them here, and at least on mine, it was loose enough I could slide it on and off. So that's usually what I do. Also, the box has the thumb grip on it, which I always love because normally when I'm doing my readings, I will put the two pieces together, and that makes it a lot easier to get them apart. Anyway, so the guidebook. There's really not a whole lot to say about the guidebook. It doesn't include any spreads. It includes a very basic idea of how to use the cards. I don't think you're really intended to draw a lot of cards. In fact, here they suggest to do a 3-card spread with past, present, and future. Beyond that, I'm pretty sure but this one actually says not to draw more than 3 cards. Could be the other one. I think it was another deck that I was reading the book for recently, but even so, this really isn't a great deck for huge spreads, I don't think anyway, so I would not suggest doing more than that. So you do get at least a basic past, present, future 3-card layout. Beyond that, you get 2 whole pages on how to use the deck, and you get an introduction. As far as the card meanings go in the book, some of them have more text than others. They tend to be a wall of text, and if you've seen many of my reviews, you've probably picked up on the fact that I prefer books that are more straightforward with what a card is meant to mean. This is very flowery and beautiful and poetic, and it even includes gorgeous poems that are sprinkled throughout the book and really just do a fantastic job of accenting the energy of the deck and everything. I love the inclusion of the poems here. I just wish that this were less of a word salad and had maybe some keywords, some explanations, a clearer explanation. Usually the very last paragraph of each card is going to give you an idea of what the card means. So for here, card 1, Heartfire, it says, "This oracle brings a message for you. Trust the passion and the fire of your heart to guide your decisions now. What would make you feel most alive? Choose that. If you are feeling a lack of genuine passion in your life, take comfort that it is awakening in your own heart now, bringing something that has been long in rest back to life." So, I mean, that's nice, but you have all of this preamble here, and I'll zoom in a bit so that you can read it if you would like to. I just wish it were more like the final passage, I guess. Like, there's not even necessarily useful exposition here. It's just kind of flowery, and it doesn't really add anything. Like, this is enough. It's not like, for example, the guidebook to the Chrysalis Tarot, which in its word salad wall of text, it also includes spiritual teachings that the deck is kind of built around, for example. This one does that in a way, but not as directly or clearly. This deck obviously is not like the Chrysalis Tarot. It doesn't really have a structured set of ideas that it is building around. So the guidebook, all in all, is not terrible. I wish it had keywords or were a little more direct, but it's serviceable, it's good. And I think if you were a new Oracle deck reader, or even for those who are just new to using this deck, it does a great job of conveying the meaning of the card and letting you know, this is a general idea of what it means. Fit that to the context of your reading, kind of thing. But yeah, other than that, it's not a particularly remarkable guidebook. It's good. It's a usual Alana Fairchild quality guidebook. So if you have any of her other decks, which I actually bought this because I really like her decks. I had the Isis Oracle at the time, and Aphrodite is another goddess whom I really love working with, and so when I saw this one, it was really hard to resist, and because there aren't any Aphrodite Oracle decks out there, unfortunately. But yeah, anyway, so let's go ahead and get into the reason why you are here, and that is the cards. So this is the back of the cards. It has a beautiful, almost a playing card style back on it in terms of design. I really like it. It is reversible, but this really isn't the kind of deck that I would necessarily recommend using in reverse unless you create your own reversal meanings, because obviously the guidebook doesn't have any reversed meanings. The cardstock is typical Blue Angel, at least for their older decks. I've had this for many years now, at least probably 5 years, if not longer. It's typical of their older decks. It's not super thick, it's nice and flexible, and it's extremely glossy. Also, in terms of size, I think this is actually smaller than the Isis Oracle. Let me see if I can reach the Isis Oracle for a card size comparison. All right, so this is the Isis Oracle, and I will probably review this eventually. Yeah, the Isis Oracle cards are slightly larger. Not by much, but if these were too large for your hands, which for many reviewers they were, these are a bit smaller. So these actually fit a little more comfortably in your hands. I love the large cards. I love, the big, bright, clear art and everything. I'm not a big fan of the heavy gloss, but other than that, I'm okay with the larger cards. I think because of the way that I shuffle, due to my hand and wrist issues, larger cards are actually a little bit easier than smaller ones. But all of that said, here we have the cards. And the art is very beautiful, very expressive, but maybe not always as communicative as I would like from an Oracle deck. But, it does what it's here to do. So if I can get my foot unstuck from my tablecloth here. Okay, so the first card here, there's not a whole lot to see. It's called Heartfire. Okay. Card number 2, within nothing, there is everything. Very beautiful, somewhat abstract. There's actually an app, an artwork app. It's an AI-generated artwork app that reminds me of this art. It's called Wombo Dream, I think. And I don't recommend using it because apparently the creators are intending to use the art generated by users as NFTs. And I don't support the practice of NFTs, but it actually creates art similar to this, although still not as good. Okay, this is the third card, Burning Hero. Card number 4, Simplicity. I really like this one. That looks almost like a bird there. And it's hard to tell if that's intentional or not. It does seem intentional because it's pretty refined, but it also could not be. It could just be coincidental because of the way the sort of calligraphy style is done here. I absolutely love it. Okay, card number 5, the Communal Dance. I really adore the use of color in this deck, and the one upside to the heavy gloss is that it really makes the colors pop. Okay, Angel of Jupiter Awaken. This card, oh my gosh, I love this card. The colors are just fantastic. The textures, it really does look like planet Jupiter in a sense. And maybe it was intended to be, or maybe it was inspired by Jupiter. I'm not sure. But you've got the golden ratio, it looks like here, and it's just a really unique and interesting card. I love it. I love the color and the imagery. I love the color and the energy of that card. Okay, Shifting Universe. This is card number 7. Yin Yang Lover. This is card number 8. Very beautiful. Just nice flourishes of color that make abstract shapes, and you might see your own designs in the shapes. Like I almost see the form of a woman here in a dress, with a long flowy dress and maybe a cape or a shawl or something. If you see unique things in the artwork, you can get unique meanings out of them and unique intuitive hits, which are always good. Okay, number 9, the Heart of God. Very beautiful. Looks like a photograph of outer space or something. Card number 10, 3 to 1. This card has such powerful Hecate energy. I love it. Okay. Eruption of Light. This is card number 11. And some of these names don't say a lot. Again, the cards themselves don't do a whole lot to trigger intuition, at least not for me. And the card names aren't particularly helpful either. Like Eruption of Light, what exactly does that mean? Self-initiation is a little bit better, but this is a consistent issue with Alana Fairchild decks, that her cards have names that don't really tell you anything about what the card actually means. And so it kind of leaves you a bit more reliant on the guidebook to make sense of it, because it's not really speaking to your intuition. Okay, this is number 13, Gifts Received. Number 14, Falling. And just in case, I know I was talking. Okay, yeah, I was talking about this card, Self-Initiation. That is the name of this card, number 12. Okay, 14 is Falling. And that's really all there is to see with Falling. I like that there's the inclusion of cards like this. I think it's very unique, and it varies the artwork and the imagery in a nice way that adds more to the deck instead of just tons and tons of all the same. The artist really does so many different things with color and texture and shape and flow, and it really is just a beautiful deck. The Mother Prays. This is card number 15. Heart of the Moment, card 16. Isn't that just gorgeous? So ethereal and cosmic, heavenly and divine. I can see why they chose to use Rasuli's art for this deck. It really is amazing. Okay, card 17, Her Grace. Card 18, Distant Shadows. Really love that the figure has long flowing hair there, the use of light. Again, light, flow, shape, texture. It's amazing. The way this watery texture just sort of blends into everything else. Like, is the woman standing in the water? At the edge of the water? We don't know. It's beautiful though. Okay, card number 19, Shakti. Named, obviously, for the Hindu goddess of energy. Okay, Sweet Soul Rising. And this is what I mean about, I love the variety of the artist's style. I was watching a deck review recently for an oracle deck. I think it was the Intuition Oracle. And like every card looked almost identical. They all had like humans with butterfly wings, and there was very little diversity, despite a fair amount of representational diversity. But every card really felt the same, despite the differences in names, the different figures on the card, because the imagery was just so much same over and over again. And I think this deck, despite using all of the artwork from a single artist, they chose a variety of pieces that bring a variety of imagery that prevent it from feeling too much all the same, and all the cards are all the same. Okay, this is card number 21. She is the Moon. And card 22, Loving All That Is. This is definitely a very Aphrodite or Freya card here if you have any interest in either of those deities. Across the Waters. Just absolutely stunning artwork, really. Okay, and here's another great example of the stylistic change that the artist had and that the creators of the deck also chose to incorporate. So this card is number 24, the space between the worlds. Okay, 25, seed of the heart. This almost has a vague shape of an ankh, which I really like. Seed of the heart. Okay, guardian of the soul family. This is number 26. This card here gives me a very Hector feeling, Hector from the Iliad, a great hero from the city of Troy. Ethereal touch, number 27. Again, I just adore the use of color and texture and light. Sacred convergence. I really love this one too. I'm not sure how much of it is intentional, but it does look like a lot of figures standing around, and so it does have this almost a sense to it of being like a meeting of the gods, a sacred convergence. The spiral dance of the goddess. This is number 29. And again, another example of the diversity. Even though the shape has been there several times over, this card is much more monotone. And so, or monochrome, I guess is the word. So it feels different from the other cards that have this sort of spiraling design. Towering magnificence. Another gorgeous card. That could be a sort of landscape card. Looks like there's a figure up here in the sky. Very beautiful. The Christ flame. I don't know, without the beard, I don't really see Jesus in that, but, it is just called the Christ flame, which I guess could be in anyone, so there is that, I suppose. Devotion to the small. I love this one. I love it even more since I've recently started gardening, so... And that is number 32. 33, God speaks. 34, becoming. And honestly, I think that title really captures the energy of this image. Like, it looks like a painting that is taking shape, that is in the process of becoming. So it is really well done, despite the few flaws that I kind of have with it. Overall, it is a fantastic deck, and if you have interest in it, I would recommend it. All right, number 35, intimacy. And that is very beautiful there. 36, the cosmic butterfly. This is one of my favorite cards. I just adore, again, the use of color, texture. This looks like an amazing rainbow peacock tail or something. I just love it. Number 37, fire and ice. 38, the pearl threaded. 39, let the feminine lead the way. 40, the void. This one is gorgeous. Almost has sort of goddess Nyx energy to it. Knowing without knowing, number 41. 42, the blood dance. 43, The bride offers herself. 44, rings of time. 45, hidden beauty. 46, just for a moment, joy. This one gives me sort of six of wands energy, very triumphant and celebratory. 47, soft. 48, man of the earth, woman of the sky. 49, woman of light. 'Really gorgeous. 50, the cloak. Okay, I'm going to go ahead and move these because they are getting really tall and kind of getting in the way. 51, dream a little. 52, the ancient ones. 53, legacy of light. 54, earth angel. 55, acceptance. 56, dance of the planets. 57, lovers. 58, beauty. 59, the temple. 60, riding the cosmic wave. 61, she loves. 62, the choice. 63, light field. 64, sensual awakening. 65, the breaking. 66, coming together. This one is just... I could say it, but I'd just be repeating myself. I also really like this card, the Swan, number 67. It is so simple and elegant, but... and I know it works. 68, drop into your heart. 69, contemplation. And 70, heaven. So there you have it. That is the Journey of Love Oracle. It is a very beautiful deck. I can't really argue with that. Again, I don't think the artwork always is enough to really spark intuition to speak to me and give me messages. And the card names also don't always do much in that regard, but even so, this is a really great deck. especially if you are working on or focused on spiritual growth and guidance. I think that it's fantastic for that. It just struggles a little bit, or maybe I should say I struggle a little bit reading it for things outside of that topic. It's not always the best deck for general guidance, so I don't know how useful it would be for, for example, a daily poll, but it is a beautiful deck. Everything it does right, it does really well. I can't argue with that. I would say that it is beginner friendly because the guidebook is good enough that a beginner could use it and have good readings with this. I'm not sure if I would recommend it for a beginner as one of their first decks, but I think a beginner would be fine if they did pick this up. So I think that's really all I have to say about the Journey of Love. So thank you so much for joining me for this video today. If you enjoyed it, please consider leaving a like and maybe comment down below. Let me know what you think of the deck. If you would like to join me for another video in the future, please do consider subscribing. I do two deck reviews a week. On Tuesdays, I do a tarot deck review. On Fridays, I do an oracle deck review. And then on Wednesdays, I do a general or spiritual guidance tarot reading. On Thursdays, I do a romance relationship guidance tarot reading. And on Saturdays, I do a week ahead tarot reading. So if any of that sounds interesting to you, please consider subscribing, and hopefully I will see you again in another video very soon. Until then, take care, and thanks again for watching.